Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you the latest episode of DyeStat Discussions. Well, we haven't seen her for a while, and probably the world is wondering where the heck she's been. Well, she's gonna be making her debut this outdoor season next week. Sadie Engelhardt, senior at Ventura High School, although is not competing for Ventura anymore. She opted out of her high school season to run unattached this year because she wanted better opportunities to race against some pros and some faster people, but. Glad she's able to hop on here and kind of just, catch us up with in her world and in her life. So, Sadie, really appreciate you hopping on here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Last we saw you was an awesome night in New York City at the Millrose Games after you broke Mary Cain's national record in the mile. I know you and I talked about it a little bit there in person, but just tell everyone out there, what that night was like for you and, your biggest takeaway from that evening.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was a great night. I think the armory, environment just is insane and so historic. Like you can just feel it when you walk on that track. How many fast people have been there before you. And yeah, it was a week after Grand Prix, which I thought went pretty well. I honestly was dealing with some Achilles stuff beforehand. So I had, 4 weeks to gear up for that, and which was a huge surprise, going under 4:30, with 4 weeks. But yeah, I feel like I was so close to that the week before that I just felt like, it's the Wanamaker mile. Like I can at least shave off, a second. So yeah, it was a great night.
Yeah, and I mean, got to get race against some of the best world class athletes in that field. Talk about those two opportunities to race and the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix and then Millrose. Two different environments, two different tracks, but at the same time, world class fields because of the amount of competitors and the most recognizable names were in those races.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Grand Prix, it was weird. Like I wasn't really nervous for Grand Prix, and honestly, like the armory either. It's kind of just like, I think I mentioned this before, but when I race with pros, it kind of takes it off of me, and I'm just latching on. Um, but yeah, I think I actually told my dad and everyone before Grand Prix, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel so good. Like my warm up's not going great. Like blah blah blah. But yeah, it was a great race, and I think probably a little more low key than the armory. But the competition was still amazing and pretty much the same. Like most girls that were in that race went to New York. Um, and yeah, the armory is just the armory. So it was super sick.
What do you think was the hardest race of those two?
Oh, it was weird because I felt like my speed back then was not the greatest. Like compared to junior year, like I, at the end of every workout, or my coach would give me reps that, were cut down 300s, which would finish with me being all out the last 100. And so we hadn't done anything 800 pace. So I think both races were hard, at the very end. I think I managed to pass some people at Grand Prix in the end. But yeah, I don't know. When I was at when I was at the armory, um, it didn't come around as quick. So I think probably that race, yeah, it felt fast from the gun. But I feel like I kind of just tuned out, and next thing you know, you have 2 laps to go, and um, yeah, yeah, I think definitely the armory though was probably harder.
But I felt like, with regards to that race, there was so much energy that had already built up within that facility based on, we've already there was already a world record set in there. Like
Yeah.
the environment was already jam packed and fired up. Did you kind of feed off of that during that and that kind of help you,
Yeah.
fulfill this opportunity?
Yeah, I also just kind of fed off I'm in staging with, Nikki Hiltz and Sinclair Johnson, like that, pumped me up. So um yeah, I think once we got on the track I was like, this is sick. Like this is probably the best atmosphere for a race. And competition by far. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, so to that degree, do you think that was probably the best environment ever you've been? I mean, you've raced in multiple pro style races before. I mean, you
Yeah.
ran the trials, you've ran HOKA Festival of Miles. Is Millrose probably number one when it comes to atmosphere?
It's hard to say. I think the Olympic trials, that was like the most, it felt like a movie, like walking out from staging. Like that was the fullest I've seen Hayward. And I honestly didn't know, like, because I think I ran Nike outdoors freshman year, and it kind of felt like a little bit of a time trial. Like there wasn't anyone in the stands. And yeah, I think that probably gives the Armory a run for its money. But it's weird because like all the different meets have their own thing. Like the low key meets, like I wouldn't say HOKA is like a low key meet, but it has that kind of vibe where it's just like at night and there's like it's not a huge stadium, but it's like amazing competition. Like it's different. So I don't know if I could say that was like the best, because sometimes like the best you get from like those smaller meets where the fans are just going crazy. Sometimes they're even more involved. But yeah, it's hard to say.
Well, from a kind of a fan perspective, but also someone that just like observed the race, I felt like at the time Hoka might have had like the craziest 10 minutes ever after what Ali Zealand did in the high school race. And then
Yeah,
you're probably watching the signs like, oh, I really have to follow that up in the
yeah,
professional field to get the high school record again. So I felt like, just that environment, as you said, like it's really small, but like it was, people were fired up just after what they saw, 10 minutes before you
yeah,
got onto the track and what you were able to accomplish, during that pro race later. But
yeah.
so the big news that you kind of made this off season is you were opting out of your high school outdoor season, which does not mean she's not turned pro. She's just going to be running unattached against the pros. You are not going to be racing for Ventura this senior season, which again kind of came a shock to a lot of people. It's like, why? This is your last year. Tell everyone what led to that decision.
Yeah, I think even last year I was kind of thinking like, I would go to certain meets like during the whole CIF process, and also during the whole CIF process you can't run any other meets than the California qualifiers. So yeah, I'd go like with my dad to like Oxy, or I'd watch Penn relays, and I'd just be like, dang, I really have to go to Moore Park and race like, two races in the heat. And sometimes it would, get in the way of my workouts. It was hard, like, because last year I would do 2 workouts a week and then try to take the races as easy as possible. Which, I mean, it got me fit, but at the same time, like, I'd rather just have a regular schedule with the training. Especially like usually afterwards, like there's, 1 or 2 races that I feel great, like after state and all that, and then it kind of just comes crashing down. So I really wanted to, you know, see how well I could do, until August, and I think this gives me the best bet. Um, and yeah, especially with how the season is going now, I feel like August is going to be my, or June, July, August is going to be my peak anyway. So
Well, and she still is going to North Carolina State. She's going to be a Wolfpack. She's still going to run for Coach Hennis, which we're really excited to kind of see what I mean, I've seen like what Grace Hartman has done this year, Angelina Napoleon has done this year. I mean, that's already got to get you fired up for next fall, right?
yeah, no, I'm so excited. I'm like, it's getting a little sad just because of like my friends here, and um, none of my friends like run here, but we're all getting like super close, hanging out every day. Um, but yeah, it's bittersweet, but I'm super excited. I think like it's like the main reason why I picked NC State was just because it was like a family environment. I feel like I'm an only child. I kind of want that like support like nonstop, and just to feel like I have all my best friends around me. And Coach Hennis that to some extent kind of serves as like more of like a motherly coach. So yeah, that's it makes me feel better about moving, 6 hours away.
Hey, I support only children. I'm an only child myself,
Yeah,
so
there we go.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I guess the other thing also is, people have been wondering where the heck's Sadie been, other than, outside of these, running in general. Like I mean, you have not touched a track, at least from a racing perspective, since that Millrose Games. So, what's been going on?
Yeah, so in November I uh kind of tweaked my Achilles a little bit, and I was just cross training running to get through until NXN. And then all of December, I was cross training. I had, like I said, like about 4 weeks to really, get ready for Grand Prix, make sure my Achilles was fine. At that point, I was running, my regular mileage a week and no cross training for those 4 weeks. And then I had those races, which I was super surprised about. And then about a week later, I felt, some quad stuff, and that ended up taking me out for a good amount of time. Like about 6 weeks, I was cross training and I was in the pool like 90 minutes every day, biking when it felt better. Like even biking sometimes would bother it. So yeah, it was hard because like, I haven't really had an injury like that. I feel like the universe was kind of like, you've had it too easy. Like you got to have these injuries. But yeah, it definitely makes you more grateful for, just going out every day and going for a run. But yeah, then afterwards, it's been like, I want to say like 7 weeks since, I've started running on the ground, maybe 6 weeks. And some of the workouts are even, better than before. So I'm feeling good. I feel like I just worked my ass, excuse my language, but worked my butt off.
Say that.
In cross training, like every day. I think I had a great support system. Sometimes it gets like, so repetitive, and I even reached out to some pros about it, like mentally, like how to deal with it, because it's like you're really just, in one place, like pushing your body. It's like and the most annoying part, in my opinion, is like everyone at the gym too. They're like watching you, and like it's like you don't get it. So yeah, it was definitely like a little bit of a I guess like a bump in the road. But I think, I'm back, and I haven't been that excited to get back on a track in a very long time. So yeah, and then like I think, I have a good amount of time to gear up for those races. So I'm feeling strong, and yeah, I think that everything happens for a reason. So I mean, maybe that made me stronger.
What have you kind of been doing, outside of running, as, whether maybe you might have picked up some few hobbies, maybe you've found a new activity to do, like how have you kept yourself busy during those times?
Yeah, I have like 3 classes in person in school, so I have like a lot of time on my hands. And yeah, I think me and my friends, like I said, just got super close, and we've been doing like normal, teenager stuff, and I think that's kind of what's helped me. Like they don't really like. I kind of just realized like it's not the end of the world. Like at some point, I'm gonna be back running. Like it's not gonna be like my thigh is gonna keep me out forever, and they were kind of helping me like realize that. Like even though they don't really get it, they're super supportive. So yeah, and like just their kind of mentality, like they don't worry about a whole lot, and that just helped me. And yeah, I think sorry, I'm supposed to be on do not disturb here. um I think I think it just had to happen, and yeah, there were like points obviously where it got really hard, but I mean, what can you do? All you can do is just cross train.
Yep. I'm curious though as to like kind of who you reached out to with regards to
Yeah,
like pro people. And I assume it's it's got to be people tied with New Balance, because New Balance is one of those brands that's been very supportive of you as part of that NIL deal.
yeah, yeah. I reached out to Emma Coburn about the Achilles stuff, and it was really helpful because I think like a lot of PTs, especially in Ventura, like they're more like just for everyone, so not like elite runners. And they all have different advice. Most of the time, it's just to rest it, and But she kind of said that in order for the Achilles to heal, like you have to put stress on it, at least to some extent. Obviously, if the pain is like sharp, like don't do that. If it's more dull, achy, like it's maybe a little safer to do it. Obviously, like you don't want any pain, but yeah, the first couple like times going back to like working with my strength coach. I also have a strength coach now. So I think like this all is good that it happened. But yeah, like it definitely would be uncomfortable, but I think like having a pro runner like tell you, especially since she's been through a lot of injuries and come back just like so quick. So that's kind of why I reached out to her in general. But yeah, it's great to have like that, guidance. And I think like she obviously probably knows a bit more than the PTs in Ventura about, Achilles stuff and professional running. So yeah, I think it was great to have her.
So is this, working with a strength training coach, is this like really the first time you've actually like, started working in the weight room?
Yeah, so obviously I'm not doing anything crazy, but um he likes to troll me about this because really like I have, you know, been just running. I didn't really roll, I didn't stretch, I didn't do any recovery stuff until these injuries. And still I have a hard time like taking time and rolling and doing whatever, but
Wait,
it's easier
old age is catching up to you.
now. Yeah, and then so yeah, his he has like a whole kind of brand, but JW Performance. I've been working with Jared, and yeah, from all like the injuries, like I went to like New Balance would fly me out to Boston and would get me hooked up with Adam 1040, who's the um, doctor for the pros, like right below the track, and he gave me exercises. They hooked me up with a dietitian, which I'm not super, I didn't really. I tried like a nutritionist here in Ventura, and it was very like restrictive, counting the stuff. Like I'm good. Like when I'm out with my friends, I'm not going to count like log what I'm eating. Like I'm I'm good.
Mhm.
But yeah, they hooked me up with all that. They so like with my strength coach, they pretty much connected. It's cool. Like everyone connected and kind of
Mhm.
formed as like a team here. And yeah, so I'm doing that stuff with Jared now. I actually got blood work done for like first time ever. And yeah, I think like it's getting a little more serious. I think my college coach was happy about that. Just getting those like baseline numbers and getting an introduction to the strength training. So yeah, I think in general I am stronger. So I think like I could get away with it because I feel like I have a pretty good kick and pretty good speed, but the strength aspect was probably where I was struggling. So yeah, I think I got better at that.
Yeah, well, and it's amazing, when you do those little things like going to the weight room or just like, take 10 minutes out of your day to do like those stretches, like how much those really, make a difference with, avoiding injuries. I mean, I for one am not one that stretches a lot and I have to deal with, hip stuff all the time on a daily basis. But when I do feel like I get into the weight room, I feel like I feel a lot better about myself and like things get like everything gets stronger and then it makes it feel like running is smoother. So I get
Yeah,
that from that standpoint. And obviously it's starting to show a little bit progress. You feel like you're kind of a different runner now, right?
yeah. I feel like my coach tells me this like I feel like he thinks that I'm constantly improving. Sometimes I don't feel it. But yeah, I think like this stuff is just giving me a little extra, and I think there's still more in college like that I can do. That's the one thing like we've tried to up my mileage 5%, 10% from the previous like season or year. But I
Mhm.
feel like I always tell Coach Hennis like I feel like I'm doing like if I do all this stuff now, like what am I going to do? She's like, Sadie, you're fine. Like we have so much more to do. And yeah, it makes me excited because I feel like I'm not turning all the notches yet, and um, I'm excited for when I can eventually. And I think even in college, like I don't think I don't think my coach is eager to push me right away, like turn everything and try everything to get knock those seconds off. I think it'll be a very gradual thing. And I think that's what my body works best with. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I can't imagine with your eagerness that you'd be okay with Coach Hennis redshirting you your freshman year.
Yeah.
Like you want to get out there and well, I mean, you would be running regardless potentially as a red shirt, but you want to be able to wear the uniform too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's not the plan right now. I think. uh, things could change, but um yeah, I plan to run, cross indoor, outdoor. So
Well, speaking of racing, it sounds like you're going to be making your outdoor debut this next week at the track fest down at Occidental. How excited are you for this? It sounds like you're going to be doing a 1500.
yeah, I'm super excited. Still trying to figure out, what heat I'm gonna be in, but I mean, regardless, both have great competition. I think this is one of the races, like I said, like last year I was looking at during CIF season, and I was just like, it's so fun. Like this track is beautiful.
Mhm.
The just environment in general. It's kind of at sunset. It's just super cool. So, yeah, I'm super excited to get after it. I honestly don't know where I'm at, but the workouts have been pretty promising. So, yeah, we'll see.
So you say you don't know where you're at, and the workout's kind of like been telling you, but like, do you have an idea of what you could potentially, kind of open up with?
I do have an idea. I have a hopeful idea, and I have a realistic idea. Um, but yeah, I think like just before, like I said, before Grand Prix, like uh, I'd say like maybe 5 weeks out, I was struggling to run, 550 pace for just anything. So, and then 4 weeks out, I was kind of getting the hang of it. We were doing kind of like shorter workouts, like shorter reps, like 200s, um, but like continuous 200s. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, like a week out from Grand Prix, I had this workout where it was like kind of a mile simulation or just kind of actually told me like what I could probably run. And I was running, like 66, 67s for these, it was like 2 sets of 4x400 or maybe 3 sets. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I've done like basically my coach has done the build up for Grand Prix. He's pretty much like copied that and put it into um, this build up for my postseason. So it's cool like to compare the times, and I think like I said, I've just been saying this, but yeah, I'm like I feel like stronger, and tempo stuff has always been like my weakest thing, I think, or like VO2 max, but I actually feel like super strong in the VO2 max range, and then um, my tempo stuff is just getting quicker. So yeah, I think that's promising. And then like my freshman year, I never really did any mile pace stuff, and I think I ran like 4:35 off of it, and so I think like maybe like the strength stuff could be better for me. And then because like I remember sophomore year, I was pretty much only doing speed stuff, and I didn't really improve. Um, so yeah, I think I kind of have both things down right now. I mean, we haven't tapped into a whole lot of 800 pace, maybe like, some 200s or just
Mhm.
faster, 150s. But like, if anything, it's like two 150s at the end of a workout. So I feel more confident probably in like that middle, like VO2 max range. But the mile pace stuff has been showing me that I'm probably a little more fit than I was. Um, so yeah, I'm excited.
Remind me again who your coach is.
So Matt Hamill, um, he was my coach. He's been my coach forever. Like he got me into running, um, in like youth track, and then he was kind of just like helping out with like when I was with my high school coach Josh Spiker. He would help with workouts because he just knows me so well, um,
Mhm.
and yeah, he wouldn't obviously like be there monitoring. So that was kind of something that was like hard for him and hard for me because like he didn't know how I was feeling. And yeah, so I think that's also another reason that I wanted to kind of branch off from Ventura just because I mean it's just sounded easier with Matt. And um yeah, I have a couple coaches now obviously because like my strength coach and um Matt and then Coach Hennis, but yeah, they all kind of contribute.
It sounds like you're starting to try new things. like i.e. The strength stuff, like you're adding that to your repertoire now. If you kind of look back, the 3 years that you ran in high school, I mean, you're still in high school, but where do you think you were like maybe like your potential is like at this point like 85, maybe 80% because you didn't have that strength training in your system?
Yeah, like you're saying now, like
Well, no, like
the
just looking
difference.
back like 3 years ago, like
Yeah,
it sounds like you did a lot of fast stuff
yeah,
when you were, freshman, sophomore, junior. You
yeah,
didn't necessarily, dabble in like 1Ks or, tempo type of runs.
yeah.
Do you think then now you were then like, at your potential like 80% of what you could accomplish?
Yeah, it's hard. I think like I just feel like every year is different. I think for those years that if anything, like maybe a second. Like I don't know. Like I think I feel similar just like with how I'm pushing myself. So I think yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to say that, I could have shaved off a couple seconds, but I think like, that was my goal the whole season for all of them. So I was definitely trying, and I think I did the most that I could do. Um but yeah, it's cool to implement the new stuff. I think it really helps.
What would be, and you can give me a guess here. What would be an ideal time for an opener next week?
Oh, I'm really putting this out there now. Um yeah, I would be happy with, I mean, so my ultimate goal this season is to uh in the 1500 go 403 or under. That's been my goal since the beginning. And I think I could maybe get close to that. Maybe I'd be happy with 405, 406. When it gets up there, like 407, probably wouldn't be as happy, but still a great opener. Um, and it depends. Like every race is so different. That's the thing. Like I don't know if they're gonna, try to, play it kind of tactical or try to make it fast. I hope it's fast, but yeah, I think like if it is going that pace, like I can stick on. And yeah, we'll see. I think like I'm just happy to race too, but obviously that competitor in me wants to, you know, kind of best what I
For
did in
sure.
February. I think February converts to like 408, 407. So
It
um
looks like it's about like 409.84 for
yeah,
what you ran at Millrose.
yeah. So I'd like to run faster than that for sure. And then uh yeah, I was gonna say something else. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. And now we look ahead, kind of, so next week is going to be your season opener, but we have an idea of what you're going to be doing the next couple weeks. You're going to be at Music City in Tennessee to race the 800, and then I think a lot of people are really looking forward to June 5th in St. Louis, Missouri. Um, they've been raving about it all season long. When are we going to see Jane Hendegren versus Sadie Engelhardt in the mile? Well, folks, we're getting it in St. Louis at the HOKA Festival of Miles. You were there last year. You got to break the national record there for the outdoor mile, but now you have an opportunity to do it again against someone that's been having a lights out season. Just before we even talk about that race, your thoughts on what Jane has been able to accomplish, not only in indoor but also outdoor too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think, she works for that. And you can kind of just see that in the way she runs. Like she's so uh consistent, and I think, you know, she just knows those patients so well, and you can see like I think she got some of her workouts filmed as well. Like it's just consistency and a lot of it. So yeah, I think that it's great to see that. Obviously not when I'm injured. That competitor in me is uh was frustrated, but I think that just fuels me. And um yeah, I think, you know, she deserves obviously like the stuff she's done. She deserves all that credit. Like it's insane. But yeah, I'm super excited to get after it. I think it should be a fun race. So I'm running the mile with her and then kind of going into her territory a little bit with the 2 mile. So yeah, it should be fun. It's very close, like days. So I think it's like 2 days apart from each other. So we'll both know where each other are at pretty much from that mile. And then yeah, we'll see. We'll see if my strength work has paid off.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that it's kind of caught my attention. I mean, you two are kind of on an even playing field when it comes to the mile. I mean, she's ran maybe a couple seconds faster than you, or maybe like a second faster than you in the mile, but 14:57 in the 5K was like, holy cow. I mean, no high school girls ever broke 15 minutes for a 5K race. Like, was that something that's like, wow, that was mind-boggling that that just happened.
You know, I kind of expected it. I mean, if you're able to run, I mean, I think like Arcadia, I'm not sure if she was like stoked with that, but I thought she was going to run faster than that. I thought she was, going to go below 9:30. So when she ran the 5K, it kind of made more sense to me. Um, but yeah, I think uh, the range is great. So we'll see.
Yeah. But again, as you said, more fuel to the fire because you've been sitting on the sideline, watching all this, and it's like, when am I going to get my opportunity? And you get your opportunity in St. Louis on June 5th. I was, scrolling through some comments yesterday, some people talking about like 4:24, 4:23. I'm like, geez, these are bizarre times. I'm like, there's no way that these girls can touch these times. Well, you guys have actually, I guess I've underestimated you two. You've been able to accomplish so many things within like the last year. When you see comments like that and you're kind of getting into that territory of, the 4:25, the 4:24, 4:23, what does that do for you from is that like, do you believe that's something you can accomplish, or is that just something that just kind of happens in the spur of the moment?
No, yeah, I mean, like I said, that 403 goal, that's pretty much right around, 423, 424. So, and I also remember what I was going to say before, but like before Grand Prix, I, had obviously like no idea that I was going to race that. But after I finished the race, like it's kind of like that early, even with going under 430, it was kind of like that early season feeling of like I haven't done like much at all. And so that like excited me. Obviously, then I got plagued with a bunch of injuries, but um, yeah, I think the potential is 100% there. I have belief in myself that I can, you know, go low 420s. That is the goal, and yeah, honestly, the goal is also just to win. I think this is the best part. It's the most fun part of racing
Mhm.
and or of running is the racing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. It just like racing in general is just like so fun to me. That's my favorite part. So um, yeah, I'm super excited.
Well, and you're coming back at like the perfect timing too, when it's championship season. Like we're getting into, towards the end, at least from a high school season perspective, but your season's just getting started. Like, I mean, that's kind of the realization. Like you have, maybe like, as you said, you're trying to go till August to try to peak and form. Like the trials are not even till July 31st through August 3rd. And
Yeah.
so you kind of have a ways to go. How much, what are workouts looking like right now as you're kind of progressing, and what are they telling you at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a workout last week on Thursday or yeah, Thursday. Um and it was like, 3 sets of 400, 800, 400, very short rests in between the reps, longer rest like 3 minutes in between sets. And they were all at goal pace. So yeah, I think like I did that workout before Grand Prix, and I only did 2 sets and blew up. Like times were very much slower. But it's a super hard workout, like for no reason either. Like you look on paper and it's like, all right, and then you get through the first 800, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be rough. So yeah, I think that's promising that I was able to finish that off and not blow up. Um, but yeah, I think it's cool because like obviously I want to be ready for these races in June. But even if they don't go as planned, which I'm not intending that
Mm.
they don't go as planned, but um, my coach has just been telling me like you know you have so much time. Like I know these races like are important to you, but at the end of the day, like you want to be at USA's and you want to do well at USA's because that's always been the goal. So And then even like, from June, if I'm, starting off at whatever time, then like, I have 2 months later until USA's. So I think like you can't really go wrong. I think in a way the injury was at okay timing. Obviously I'd rather have it a little earlier. But yeah, I think I'll be ready to go.
Whatever we want to hashtag it, but we can call it Sadie's summer. Ready to get the racing under her belt and get back into the groove of things. But because summer is right around the corner, you haven't graduated yet, have you? You're not done with school yet.
No, I have. So seniors get out a week earlier. So I have 3 weeks.
Has it kind of sunk in yet? Has senioritis
Oh,
come
yeah.
about yet?
Yeah, I'm not the best at being on time. Or sometimes, my teachers will be like, we're not really doing anything. So going is not really something that I do when they say that. But yeah, I think like obviously like my grades are up. Like it's not that hard to do that. I'm just kind of thinking like I'm definitely gonna have to lock back in for college because this is like the breeziest like year like ever. So I know it's gonna hit me kind of like a truck, but yeah, I mean in general I do well in school, so I think it's just been this last little bit. I'm just like so tiring. I mean, even though I have 3
Hey,
classes,
it's gonna be homework, it's gonna be training, it's
yeah,
gonna be life. It's all gonna hit you like a truck when
yeah,
you get to your freshman year at North Carolina State.
yes. And that was something like when I went on my visit, um, I noticed like they're serious about their school, like very serious. And we have to be in the tutoring room for like 2 hours a week or maybe 4 hours a week. But
Mhm.
so that'll help, but that just kind of shows like they want the student athletes to succeed in both areas. So yeah, I think, and I also just switched my major. I was gonna do communications, and then I don't know what got into me. I feel like I've kind of just been slacking this year, so I was like, I can't slack this next year. So I switched it to like they don't have like a kinesiology type major, but they have like biology and then human sciences, and so that's kind of what I'm doing. But yeah, it should be fun. Probably gonna be hard, but I think to have a little balance is good. So
My mom, who's a PE teacher, she took kinesiology one of her years at when she was in school.
mhm.
Hated it, but she hates science with a passion.
Oh
So
no,
I don't know how your feelings are with science and chemistry, but
I like chemistry.
I know it'll be challenging.
I for
Okay, then it should be easy, a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, it might be our teacher like for chemistry here is really good in high school, but maybe that was what was carrying me through. But yeah, I just don't like history. I really like writing. I don't like history or math
Mhm. Oh, okay. So no adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing.
unless it's
No.
on the track. I can add and subtract on the track.
Math track better than regular math.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now we know what Sadie's perfect math is. So as you kind of reflect on, as you say, you've got 3 weeks left of, being a high schooler. You reflect on the 4 years that you were in high school at Ventura and the things that you were able to accomplish, the things that you were able to achieve, not only individually, but, as, I remember at Mount Sac, you guys broke the national record in the DMR. Like there were so many things that you had accomplished during your time racing for Ventura. What's something that you're most proud of when you've worn that uniform and represent that school? What was the most proud you were?
Yeah, I think that DMR was definitely up there. I think for the team, like last year was the best year because we went that was our first time going as a team to like New Balance Outdoor, anything like that, and it was just cool to see like I've been to these meets and I've gotten the kits and I've gotten all the stuff that New Balance provides, but it was like so cool to see like my teammates just experience that for the first time and open their kits, get so excited about it, like um see the venue at Philly, and just like be in shock, and like it was just awesome. Like I wish I could have them come to every experience with me. But yeah, I think that was like the one thing that was keeping me back was just, those girls were like my best friends, and they still are. Like me and Alo, still like we work out on the same track most of the time. She's kind of doing her own thing as well for postseason. So, yeah, and like, yeah, I definitely say like the DMR was probably the most special moment. Just because I think like going in, we didn't really have an idea. Like our coach was kind of saying like, national record. And we're like, yeah, like, I don't know. We both had races yesterday, and, yeah, it was super cool. And like, it was so weird. Like the last lap, like obviously I was feeling it, but like I had like, I don't know what like pushed me to run. It was like my fastest lap, but I just like thought I don't know. Like I didn't think I was doing that well. But then like it happened to be like right under that, 11:22 or 21 or whatever it was. So, yeah, it was cool. And they all contributed like so well. Like we all had amazing races. Our 400 leg ran like 54, for the first time. She's doing
That
well.
was probably the most impressive part of that DMR was
Yeah.
her running that 53, 54.
Yeah, I know. And she'd only run, like 56. She was a constant like 56 open 400 runner. So, it was insane. Like that, just set us up so well. And then, obviously like Melanie and Ayla were so consistent, and, that helped as well. So yeah, it was a special moment.
Yeah, there's been a lot you've accomplished the last couple of years, and that like that weekend at Mount Sac. I remember, you broke what was it, the 1600 or the mile national record the night before, and then you double back and you help your team break the national record in
Yeah.
the DMR.
Yeah, that was like, and it was so weird because I like last season. It's weird because like freshman year I kind of felt like good all the time, like throughout all my runs, felt great, was constantly improving. Then sophomore year was kind of that block where I was like, it was just developing, and then also like not, I just didn't know like how to combat that year. Like that was so good. And then yeah, junior year, like I think like that it just like came back, and but I was still like obviously feeling kind of sluggish most of the time, so that race and that weekend like really proved like I don't really have to feel good all the time. Like I know how to race, and that's pretty much, all I need. Yeah, even if like, and my training was going fine, it was just like I felt sluggish, and maybe that was something with my levels. Who knows? I didn't get them checked, so it might be. But yeah, I think that weekend proved to me, I like just racing is like my strong suit, and then, just also proved to the girls like we just did something crazy. So, yeah, it was a great weekend.
And you have a lot to reflect on here the next couple weeks before you actually, walk across that stage and accept your diploma and, do the tassel thing, go from right to left. So I know, you made obviously a huge impact not only on your school, but, the state of California, but and the entire country. Like, in a time where, running was kind of a questionable thing here during COVID,
Mhm.
kind of help elevate that. And I think you can agree on some level of that. Like your accomplishments, kind of was a driving force for a lot of, a lot of these, at least based on the high school girls side, the case for like Addie Ritzenheim, Jane Hendegren, Sophia Rodriguez, Riley Blade, like I think what you were able to accomplish has kind of pushed high school distance running to another level. If do you think
Thank
you
you.
can agree with something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to agree. I think that's awesome. It's, a lot more fun when everyone kind of just elevates each other, and, every high school race, there's competition. Like you don't. I mean, I feel like in years previously, like before our time, like obviously you saw Caitlin Toohey, like she's just alone, and like Mary
True.
Decker, and then, Mary Cain as well. Um, like there's not usually like, a group of runners that are kind of elevating each other. So yeah, it's been great.
Been fun to watch you the last couple of years, but it's not over yet. We get to see you race next week at the Sound Fest, the Sound Fest, whatever it's called, running down at Occidental College. But also, Music City Track Festival in the 800, Brooks, HOKA Festival Miles in the mile, and then Brooks PR in that 2 mile, and then kind of whatever the rest of the outdoor season. For sure, the trials when you see you before you head off to Raleigh, North Carolina to run for Coach Hennis and the Wolfpack. So, Sadie, always a privilege getting a chance to talk with you, and glad to catch up with you. Glad you're starting to get healthy again. Wish you nothing but the best this outdoor season, and hopefully everything goes your well. And again, for at least the Music City Track Festival and HOKA and Brooks, you can catch all those meet on runnerspace.com and see Sadie Engelhardt back in action for the first time in a while. It seems like it's been a while. It seems like.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Really appreciate your time, Sadie. Best of luck the rest of the outdoor season, and we'll catch you down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much.